All right, folks, welcome to our Tuesday night show and share here at Knox Makers. Is this anybody's first time here at Knox Makers? Show of hands? No first timers? Okay, well, for those of you who might be watching for the first time, this is our Tuesday night meeting where we show off what we've been working on, what we're stuck on, what we need advice on, whatever you may have to show. So tonight we're going to get started with our first show, which has come from Kale, who is showing a nightstand.
Don't put it on the platform. Hey everybody, my name's Kale. What's up? Hey. I got some photos here too, so I'll pull up. Yeah, I joined Knox Makers about 1.5 years ago, but I haven't done a show and share, so I thought I'd take the opportunity to do that. And 1.5 years ago, I moved back to Knoxville and had an opportunity for a career change. So I was thinking it'd be great to make furniture for a living, but had never done any woodworking or making furniture. So I was like, I'll join Knox Makers and try and figure it out. So let me show you a picture of the first thing I did was this, let's see, plus and minus. Let's see. Will it adjust? Here we go. Made this like TV stand out of plywood. And I'm the kind of person that's like, I want to learn everything at once. Like, don't build on skills, but just try and do everything. So sliding doors and one of the pictures has I wanted to do these like locking rabbit joints that I saw online that looked cool. So it turned out I really liked it. There it is in my home. So I was excited about it. So the next thing I wanted to do was make something out of solid wood. So I started making this nightstand, and so bought some rough lumber and came in here to like get it planed and glue up some panels. And it was all really fun to learn, but it took forever. It was like months that I was working on this. So if you can see it from where you're at, I did like mitered edges, and they didn't hold together very well, so I put these splines in, and they didn't hold together very well, so I ended up just putting like some metal brackets on there to hold the miters together. But overall, I think it worked really well. I did these like cutout handles that I liked, but the lesson was it was maybe took too long to make it worth it for me, especially if I'm going to be trying to like make furniture for a living. Let me show you a couple pictures. Here's me gluing it up. Oh yeah, and the first iteration was I got the box part done, and then I tried to make these legs, and they ended up just like way too skinny. I mean, it looks a little funny, but it was also really wobbly, and so I had to basically scrap that and start over. So I took a wood turning class and got to use the lathe, and so I ended up turning these legs and made them a bit thicker. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. So yeah, it's been about 1.5 years now, and I just registered my business. So I'm doing it now, making furniture, but I decided that I'm going to stick with the plywood furniture because I'm working out of a barn, and I can just have fewer tools, and I think there's a lot of stuff that I can make. So a couple other things just real quick. This was the first one I made for a client, was this little coffee table. And yeah, so I'm going with this like exposed plywood edges. Then next I found this picture of a like mid-century desk that I really liked. So drew up a sketch for that. And this one I actually made in like 2 days. So yeah, quite a bit faster than having to plane the rough lumber and stuff. So there it is at home. And yeah, I guess that's all I have to share. Do you guys have any questions? Yeah, in the back there.
If you start making these with like mass producing them,
Mm-hmm.
you can make not made by acrylic, and then you can just basically use an auto fill around them.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So that way now you've got a template you can mass produce them. Maybe a lot faster.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So I did kind of like that with the coffee table I showed, but just did it out of like a real thin 1/8" plywood or something, and now it's all duct taped together. So maybe acrylic is the better way to go. Thanks. Yeah.
I've noticed a color difference between the edge and the surface. Do you take that off and stain it or paint it, or how do you?
Of the nightstand, or which one?
Well, I noticed it in one of the photos.
Let's see. The first. Yeah, this one, the TV stand, I did end up painting the like outside of it. So the front, the doors and stuff are the natural wood, and the top's painted. Because it didn't look very good, so I kind of learned a little bit about quality of veneers. So it was just like ugly pine, so I ended up painting it. Anybody else?
Are you sticking with one kind of joint, or are you, like, because you said you tried that one joint,
Yeah, the like rabbit joint, yeah.
are you trying to have you stuck with one specific one?
No, not just that, but I am kind of figuring out my style, and I think I like that. I like the cutout handles, so a couple different shapes I've tried with that. So yeah, I think I'm gonna kind of feature that with stuff, but not restricted to just that. Yeah. Yep.
Are you using mostly like hand tools other than planing?
Yeah, so I'm almost done with like kitting out my barn, but my main tools are just a track saw and a router, and I built my bench like exactly the same as what we've got in there with the dog holes and stuff. But that's really it, and you can do so much with that, so I'm excited about it. Anybody else? Great. All right. Thanks a lot.
All right, thank you very much. Up next, Matt is going to show a laser.
Hang on. Let me get all these out here. Is that oriented the right way? Okay. This is a long overdue one, and Joe requested it, so this is for Joe. Tracy and I, without the help of John Dale, who wasn't even there, lasered these welding weights so people wouldn't weld on them. And that's, use the, what is it, crossbow? Is that the right one? Okay. We used crossbow, and it really did a good job. So this, all jokes aside, this was done like probably a month and a half ago, and the lasers have stood up to some abuse, and like they even got ground on a little bit, and you can still kind of see it. So it did a good job. And some metal, probably aluminum. I think it's aluminum. I think they're aluminum weights. Yeah. That may be necessary, but they could just grind it off. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. This was sort of cobbled together from just stuff that was found on a website on the internet, and Tracy did things on the computer that I don't understand, and then it came out as a laser, laser thing. Yeah. Yeah. No, truly, like I couldn't have done this. So, anything else? Yes.
How long average did it take for you guys to match up?
I mean, it only took a second for the thing to happen. But we probably did what? We did it for, how long were we messing around? Like 4 hours, maybe? Yeah, sort of. So I think we made like a dozen front and back in like 4.5 hours. All right. Thanks.
Well done. All right. Couldn't help it. Coming up next is Sue, who's going to show a needle book.
So I suppose you're wondering if it's going to be softer into the fiber world or if it's going to be a needle and poke you. But it's going to be softer. I was able to get into Thea's needlebook class. And so we did a sampler, if you will. First, we practiced stitches. And this is where I found out that some of the names I had been calling stitches are not the names that she calls the stitches. So there was some confusion there. So we did that. I tried to get very colorful. So the first side, we learned what the stitches were and learned how to do them. And then the front piece, we were free to just kind of practice and do what we wanted. So I was pretty happy with how mine turned out. And then you close it up, and now I have a space to put all of my needles and pins. So hopefully they will not fall into the chair or out into the living room somewhere anymore. They can be safe. Yes, sir.
Say the names of those stitches, I can't read them.
Yes, we have a blanket stitch, and is it the back stitch, the second one, or, yeah. And then I labeled this the straight stitch, but it's called the stem stitch, the French knot, the running stitch. So the running stitch you might recognize whenever you're sewing clothes. You just up and down, up and down. Okay. All right, thank you.
All right. Next up, we have Scott, who's continuing with the plywood theme, is going to show a plywood instrument.
Fine camera. Perfect. Cool. I'm Scott. I'm relatively new here. I want to make guitars, but I don't know how, so I started making random stuff. And I thought I have the cutoff pieces from like a 4x8 sheet of plywood I got from Lowe's or something. And I wanted to make a harp-like instrument. This is technically a lyre, which I learned is because it has a bridge and not like goes through the sound box. So this is basically 2 sheets of 3/4 inch plywood glued together, and then 2 sheets of 1/8 inch plywood on the front and back. And then I had a piece of purple heart that's the bridge. It's 20 strings. You can tell at some point in the design, I thought there was going to be 21 because there's an extra hole here, which is more impressive because I did it all in CAD and still cut it out with 21 holes on the front. But yeah, I had most of the materials already. I bought like 20 tuning pins on Amazon, and yeah, it's tuned with classical guitar strings, so they're all nylon strings. And so like these 3 are actually all the same gauge of string, and then these 3 and so on and so forth. And then one of them broke, and I had to use a pack of strings that I already had, so that's why there's one black string. I have some pictures of the assembly and design process that I can show as well, if I can find them. That's not it. Here we go. So I designed roughly, this is the layout. People asked me, like some of my friends asked me, how did you determine how long the strings are supposed to be? The answer is I didn't. Zoom in. Like that? Yeah. The answer is I didn't. I kind of just winged it. Roughly the longest string is 24 inches because that's roughly the length of a guitar scale length. They're like 25 inches, and I thought that might work. And the rest of it, I kind of just winged it. Let's see. I have a CNC at home, so that's how I got all the stuff cut. They're out of order, glued together, more gluing, and so forth, and putting the bridge on. Yeah. I tuned it to basically A minor. I don't know if people can hear on the mic. So like the lowest string's an A, and then it goes just like an A minor scale. That's it. Any questions?
You said that you wanted to learn how to make guitars, so you made a lyre.
Yes.
That looks harder to make than a guitar.
It's not. There's not a lot of precision in this, honestly. So like you turn the tuning pegs to whatever tension you want, and I literally was just like, I think I can tune this to A minor. If it's wrong, it will be B minor, or it will be something else. So with the guitar, you also have to like get the frets in all the right spots and stuff like that. The thing that I didn't think of though is I have to tune 20 strings instead of 6. So that was annoying, but it only took like an hour or two.
How long did it take?
What part of it?
The
De-
whole thing.
Designing was like probably 2 hours of me like deleting and restarting because I mostly just wanted to get the right shape and make it look pretty. Like CNC cutting, I think each layer, I don't have a particularly strong CNC, was like 20 minutes. And then glue up's not very long. Getting the bridge right, another couple hours. And then yeah, stringing it and tuning it the first time is about an hour, and then I've tuned it like 6 dozen times since then. So 20 hours total maybe. Yeah.
I've seen electronic tuners. Do you use one of those?
No, actually, it's like tuning a wrench. Just, and I made a mistake tuning it actually, so you can see the tuning pegs should be like a lot further down in it. But I decided to put them halfway in, and then you tighten them as the string goes on. And then I made a brilliant decision of counter tuning it so that the tension of the string pulls it more in, but that requires you to unwind it as you tune it. So I was slightly worried about a lot of things falling apart on it, and that informed many of my decisions.
Are you, I guess, a musician?
I was a band kid, if that's close enough. But I'm not a professional musician now.
Do you play, like, are you gathering folk music? Like,
No, I have some already. Like I used to, like I took classical guitar lessons for like 6 years, and so I have like classical music rearranged for guitar, but that's about it.
Can you tune by ear?
Me? No. I have relative pitch, like iffy, so like I can tell if one string's out of tune and relatively tune it back, but I don't have perfect pitch. Cool. If anybody wants to play it, like, feel free.
Very, very cool. All right. You had a project to show, Turo? All right. Come on up. Turo is showing something. I don't know what it is.
Hold on, I gotta plug it in.
Plug up under the shelf. No, the top shelf. Show off shelf.
I see it. Okay. Yeah, that'll work. Excellent. Okay. Hi, I'm Arturo, and I'm going to be showing off a stained glass D&D D20 dice lamp. That's wrapped up extremely well. There we go. So, the way you make one of these is you cut out 20 triangles of whatever glass you want, basically, and then you load them into a little 3D printed jig that holds them at the right angle, so you can solder them together. And then as you continue soldering, you solder, turn, until you end up with the entire ball. and the last couple solder lines are very high stakes. And I think you can spot at some point I dropped some solder in between the triangles into the inside of the ball. I can't see it now though, so a win's a win. And then for the numbers, I cut these out on gold foil on the foil cutting machine out here and just stuck them on with my fingers. And this is very fun. It's a huge D20 as far as D20s go, and you can gently roll it on a soft surface. I haven't been brave enough to roll it hard yet. But then after doing that, I wanted, well, from the beginning I wanted it to be like a lamp and for it to be colorful. So I 3D printed a base for it that'll cradle the D20 and hold it there. And then inside the base, there's a puck light, just like a generic LED under cabinet light. And so you can put it on and turn it on. And there you go. And it throws fun colors in every direction. And I'll put it up here so you can see. Yeah. And then, here, I'll show what it looks like on my bookshelf. When it's dark. It looks really nice when it's dark. But yeah, that's all.
Gotta ask, how long did it take?
So this was supposed to be a Christmas present. So it took a while. It took, I think, 2 afternoons, and that was like working from like 5-ish until 2 in the morning. And then the reason it hasn't been delivered yet is because the person it's for is in Colorado, and I just haven't mailed it to them yet. Yeah.
Did you 3D print the jig or whatever you call it?
Yeah. I found it's a file for free online, but it was too small because it was like for like a normal size D20, so I blew it up. Yeah. Yeah.
Did you have to grind metals in so that they would, the edges would meet up?
No.
The solder kind of covers
Yeah, the solder just kind of covers any imperfections. Not perfectly. If I had ground bevels, it probably would have like come together much cleaner and easier, but it worked. Yeah.
Like the last 3 pieces that you sort of assembled, was that like, I guess like how close was it? Like did you have to trim a lot? Was there stuff that was like it was way too big and it fell a lot? Or was it just sort of like kind of folded?
Yeah, it folded together surprisingly well, but there were some big gaps that I was really worried about. What I ended up doing was kind of like tactically choosing which triangles to place so that I ended up with the fewest gaps, but I still ended up with some big gaps that I just turned the solder iron, like the temperature down so that the solder's more tacky, and kind of like carefully put it on. Yeah. I have. I've done a few stained glass pieces here. I can show you pictures. So I think some of you remember the little dragonfly piece I started out with. And then I've made a couple more things, but I don't have pictures ready to go. I can show you pictures later. But I've been doing stained glass here at Makerspace for a few months now. Yeah.
Where would you rank the difficulty of this project? Is this something relatively beginner-friendly, or you should probably have an idea of what you're doing?
I think it's pretty beginner friendly actually, because cutting everything out, it's only triangles. So it's all straight lines and it's all the same shape. And the hard part with stained glass is getting those shapes right. And then the second hardest part with stained glass is soldering. And that's a little like difficult with this because of the three-dimensional nature. But it's actually not that different from just soldering a flat piece. There's just some angles, and like once you get the hang of that, it's easy. Yeah.
Yeah, so if I understand right, you actually made two separate halves, and at the end put them together. I know that you used the jig to make those two halves, but how worried were you when you actually went to put those together that they were actually going to work?
So I didn't actually make two separate halves. Yeah. I started like you get basically one side with the jig, and then you rotate it a little bit and you add one more triangle, and then you just like keep going one by one until you've gone through the full 360. Yeah. Yeah, I'll see you in 3 years. All right, thank you.
Now you just have to roll it 50 times to make sure that it rolls balanced. Just make sure it's fair, game legal. All right. We have no more names on the list. Did anybody else have anything to share today? Oh, yeah. Okay, great.
Oh wow, I'm short. Okay. Hi, I'm Hope. I also made a stained glass. I made a crow. Sorry, I just feel really short. Let's see. I made, so like, oh, sorry, I can't. But like, I don't know if you can see the like iridescence and the, no, it's kind of hard to see, but the moon is iridescent and the like feathers and the beak are iridescent, and it's really pretty. I don't actually have a lot to say about it. It was a lot of fun to do. I designed like I designed the design of the pattern on my like iPad, and then we cut it out on the what do you call it, like a vinyl cutter. Just put the pieces on the glass, and then made stained glass. It was fun.
How long did it take?
It took me like 3 evenings, I think. I mean, it took like several hours each time. I could have gotten it done in one day, but I started a new job, so I was tired, and I was like, I'm not gonna do that. But yeah, I think it took about like 3 days, like 3 afternoons, and it was a lot of fun.
Do you do foil method or?
I do the foil method, yeah. It was my first time working with like mirror too, like the little stars or mirrors, and that was really fun too. It snaps really easy and is like super satisfying. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. Yes. So I think there's a way of doing stained glass where you use like lead came, and I don't really get how that one works, but the foil method is like you cut out all the pieces and then you grind them down, and then you use copper foil to like put on the edges of all the pieces, and you burnish them down, and that's what the solder like sticks to. So like the solder's not sticking to the glass, it's sticking to the foil that's sticking to the glass. Yeah, it's fun. Okay, that's it.
Lots of plywood, lots of glass tonight. Very cool. All right. Any more projects for anybody who wants to show tonight? All right. Well, after tonight's presentation, we're going to take a little short break, but then we also have our new members onboarding happening right here in this classroom right after tonight's presentation. So if you are a new member or in your probationary phase or are interested in becoming a Knox Makers member, stick around because that will tell you about who we are as an organization, and it's required to become a member. So if you are interested in attending that, hang around. There are some classes coming up that still have tickets available. There's a Woodworking 202 class on the 13th. That's the advanced turning. So if you have taken the first wood turning class, there are still tickets available for that. There's also tickets available for the Woodworking 101, and that's going to be on the 17th at 7 p.m. Those usually go pretty fast, so if you want to learn how to use the wood shop tools, that's the place to go. Again, that's the 17th at 7 p.m. And there's more events up on our website, knoxmakers.org. You can get your tickets there. With that, open up the workshop. Like I said, new member onboarding here in just a few minutes, but otherwise, go out, have some fun.
I was gonna show something, but you flipped it over before I got the picture done.
Okay.
Too late?
Okay, come on down.
Sorry, I was talked into doing this after the fact. Okay. Every girl's fantasy is having a vanity done.
Bottom right, I can
Smaller there.
bottom right, plus.
Okay. It's a vanity that I made, and then the top opens, all the drawers, and then the chair. This is a glass. It's got the mirror built into it. It all opens up. All the drawers are independent. This is inside. It all flaps down, and then even the chair slides under here. There's a mirror here and two lights that flip in and out. Originally, I made it for my now ex-wife, but she didn't have room for it, so now my daughter inherited it, and she wants me to keep making things for her, which is the reason I'm here. And then that's what it looks like when it's completely closed. And that's the other one I did. That's a TV stand. During the working process, I actually was doing it on when I made that vanity, I made it on a porch. The porch was 4 feet wide by 6 feet long, and it was screened in, and unfortunately my neighbors was really irritated. You can see the washer and dryer back here. The neighbors were irritated because all the sawdust was going out through the screen and down, because I was on the second floor. And then all of so it turned out pretty well. My daughter likes it. All in all, I think, I know you're going to ask me anyway. I have, with a span of 7 weeks, I have a total of 56 hours into it, because it was a gift that I had to hide every single time. So every time that she went to work, I had to take all of this stuff off the patio, clean it, and then hide it under the bed. And then when she went to work, I had to dig it all out, set it all back up, and then do it all again. But the good thing is, I had 12 hours to do this because she was a nurse. Exactly. So, which actually was very beneficial to me. She never found it until I gave it to her for her birthday. So now my daughter gets it. Now my daughter has it. And now she sits there and tells me, "Daddy, what are you making next?" Nothing. Because I'm making something for me. Anybody have any questions? Yeah. Well, of course, I'm actually making my daughter's really big into the monster truck thing after I took her to a rally. And so I'm making a shelf for all of the monster trucks that I've bought for the last 2 weeks. She has now accumulated 90 plus monster trucks. For some reason, she's like, "Daddy, I like monster trucks, let's buy them." So we'll go to the store and we'll buy them.
I've got 90 of them, so now I've got to make a container that will hold these, because right now they're all over her playroom. So, did you have a question? Honestly, it's all pine. Even the stool itself, I did not have a lathe. The legs for the stool I actually made and used I did not use a router for it. I actually had to use my table saw, because I made my own jig that allowed me to spin that part of it. So I actually made the legs for the stool, and I did all the fabric on it, wrapped it and everything else. I made the legs with the stool with a table saw, because what I did is I had the table saw, I put the 2 legs on it, and I drilled 2 holes in the center of it, and then I ran it over my table saw. Don't try that at home, because it can be dangerous. But it was a closed environment, and I actually had an acrylic cover over top of it as well. So I'm dumb, but I'm not 100%. So what I did is, as I was sitting there doing this, and then on the very edge of the one side, I actually had a little handle that I can spin it, and I can control it by spinning up the blade, dropping it down, and then so that way the leg would go to where I need it to do. So it took time. Like I said, I had plenty of time. I had 12 hours to create and think while she was gone. So, but yeah, you'll probably see some of my other crazy projects. I've made tables and glass top stuff where I'm using fiber resin and everything else. So you'll probably see quite a bunch of different things that I make. So, but anybody else have any questions? Thank you.
All right, and with that, we will conclude tonight's meeting and open up the workshop. Thank you all for coming.
All right.